Greetings, my little superstars! Ruppy here, your ringmaster for the Columbus Swoo Amazing Digital Circus Edition! Our funny buddies are 2-0 now in the UNPL Spring Fling, but not without getting quite a fright last week in the form of the fearsome Golurk. I knew that monolithic monster would be trouble, but this was so absurd, it was hilarious! It took the combined efforts of Gangle and Zooble to not only fell this metal menace, but also save the day by facing the world together. You couldn't generate a better script even if you were using AI! Take that, ChatGPT! Anyways, Week 3 of the Spring Fling low-tier extravaganza may very well have our little superstars facing their own mortality. And maybe some dangerous toys being swung around with reckless abandon while we're at it. Sounds like a blast! Today's adventure is Grimm's Grand Gala! Week 3 is party time as our little hard-shelled hamburgers face off with Nugglo and his Grand Rapid Grimms, continuing the bizarre theme of matching wits with winless teams who do very well pose a threat to our wacky hijinks. The Grimms roster boasts some incredible threats, and at the very top of that list is the cantankerous Kleavor, who pretty much has all the tools it needs in those axe arms to mow down our entire circus grounds with very little that can be done to stop it. Piloswine and Bronzong are also problems that can scatter pointy rocks all over our field and tank hits for days, as can Tentacruel while spinning away any of our own hard-earned hazards. Jolteon is lightning quick and can become quite the shocking problem. There's a fiery bull that could very well be let loose from its stable to rampage through our roster. Sceptile and Granbull can be terrifying Terra Captains. The possibilities are endless for how many ways Nugglo can play Party Pooper. But fear not, for our funny buddies have plenty of tricks stored away in Cyber Hammer Space to make sure this gala gets off the ground smoothly while entertaining all you wonderful fans out there. And who better to kick off the festivities than everybody's favorite jester, Pomni! Pomni is our dedicated lead in this game, sporting a focus sash around her waist to guarantee that she can get the ball rolling, so all our plans can go off without a hitch. Stone Edge is great for ripping chunks out of her enemies to repurpose them into party decorations, as morbid as that might sound. Stealth Rocks are her main decoration of choice for the Grimm's side of the field, and Sucker Punch allows her to pop any unsuspecting fiend who would dare to think they've got her on the ropes, especially with Dark as her chosen Terra type this week. The biggest surprise Pomni brings to the table, however, is the secret weapon of Counter! Because Pomni's whole scheme for this shindig is to hopefully meet Kleavor right out of the gate and get rid of it ASAP. And Counter will certainly guarantee that, or even guarantee take something else out if the rocky bug from the Stone Ages thinks it can pivot out to save itself, with Sucker Punch picking off an unsuspecting sash set if that's Nugglo's game plan. Psst. Between you and me, the Terra Dark is a ruse. Maybe this is a bit cheeky using the Terra preview rules to my advantage like this, but in a Lycanroc vs Kleavor lead matchup, knowing I have Terra Dark will hopefully entice Kleavor to stay in and hit me for this scheme to work. Unless I lose my other captain too early and have no other choice, I have absolutely no intention of terrestrializing Pomni in this matchup. With that cat out of the bag, let's turn the spotlight to our other Terra captain, Gangle! After an incredible performance last week, Gangle is back to try and repeat that Herculean effort and keep her comedy mask smiling nice and big for this shindig. Nugglo's team really doesn't have much that appreciates some good old bolt beam coverage, so Gangle's planning to put on a giant light bulb and give us plenty of great ideas while using Terra Blast to electrify the opposition. Since Tentacruel is the only thing it'd be needed for and Terra Electric already covers that little problem, Freeze Dry is going back into cold storage this week in favor of the far more chilling Ice Beam. Recover keeps Gangle healthy to repeat last week's performance, and Flash Cannon is her secret weapon to blast our way through that fluffy Piloswine. If we can hold off on Gangle's Terra or get another plan in motion we'll talk about shortly, no spoilers just yet. then even Piloswine struggles to break through our loving bundle of ribbons. And with 216 speed EVs, Gangle can even outrun both a flaming bull and a nasty jellyfish. Go Gangle! Next up, ready to deck the halls of this circus tent with glimmering glee, is Ragatha! Ragatha has a rather interesting role this week, as she's primarily here to set up screens that will last a lifetime thanks to her light clay! Or at least 8 turns instead of the usual 5. With a lot of extra fluff to pad out her physical bulk in tandem with her natural special bulk, Ragatha can even stare down a Blaze Tauros without fear, even if it insists on raging right through her carefully crafted screens, leaving it vulnerable for a Moonblast or a Psyshock to put out the fire. And as always, she's bringing her Trace ability to imitate our Party Crashers and potentially turn some of their amazing abilities right back on them. Now, why is Ragatha playing support this week? Well, for that, you can thank Jax! Sure, our funny bunny dragon bike thing may have bullied her into it, but he truly has good intentions. You see, Jax is our wild card that can run right through the Grimm's roster with some real sneaky shenanigans this week, and Ragatha's screens really help his pranks go off without a hitch. Jax can shed his skin in case Nugglo tries to use status to slow him down. A weakness policy really gets Jax's motor running, and Shift Gear guarantees that absolutely nothing will be able to outrace this hair. Double Edge's powerful stab that may take some pieces off of Jax, but will certainly take even more off his enemies. And Power Whip and Temper Flare are just the coverage the doctor ordered to keep Nugglo's team racing for answers. Next up, as much as they may not like to party, we're making Zooble come along anyway. After a stalwart effort last week, Zooble's bulk, combined with her generator and rocky helmet, are very much appreciated again for this adventure as a way to try and wear down that pesky Kleavor, among other threats, and hopefully put it to sleep with Spore so it can slumber its way into oblivion. Giga Drain keeps them healthy and also scares Piloswine. Sludge Bomb addresses issues like Morgrim and both opposing Terra captains, pre-Terra of course, and Stomping Tantrum surprises a Tentacruel that may be packing liquid ooze to try and make our funny buddy sick to their stomach. The set may struggle with a Bronzong who's levitating in the air, but that's no problem. After all, we're rounding out the party this week with Gummy Goo! I went back and forth on whether to go with him or Kane for this last slot, but our Candy Bandit is certainly a threat to the notable ground weakness Nugglo's team has. Never doubt the power of a Choice Scarf Crocodile, especially with Moxie to hit harder and harder as the sugary snowball rolls down the cotton candy hill. Earthquake addresses that aforementioned ground issue, Knockoff eliminates items while splitting that brazen bell in two, Gunkshot gives Gummy Goo a sour surprise to unleash against those ferocious fairy types and Sceptile, and Close Combat closes the gap against the likes of Hisui and Sliggoo and Piloswine, especially once their Eviolites are gone. 200 speed EVs are more than enough to make sure our Gummy Gator will always outrun even a Scarf Kleavor and bring that rotten rebel to sweet, syrupy justice. That's the roster for today's adventure. A huge thank you to It's Danny Mac and Dapper Snapper for helping to program today's roster. So, can our little circus soiree go off without a hitch? Will Kleavor and friends crash the party and spoil the fun? Let's find out! Alright, it is battle time. Let's see if my Columbus Swoo Amazing Digital Circus Edition can keep our undefeated ways intact. So we have Kleavor, Tentacruel, Blaze Tauros, Bronzong, Piloswine, and Morgrim. So he brought neither of his Terra captains, which is interesting to me. No Noivern either. Kind of surprising. So this is going to be interesting. He brought none of his Terra Captains. I mean, Pomni lead was always the plan, and I am not deviating away from that. This is exactly what it was designed to do, so we will see how this plays out. So, good luck, have fun, Nugglo. Let's see if my Swoo have what it takes to keep our winning ways intact. As we go back to the Treasure Eatery for the second week in a row, as he leads with the Morgrim. Okay, this is interesting. Not the lead I would have, and I believe I saw Frisk out of the corner of my eye there, which would not surprise me if that's the case. A dual screen set would not surprise me. I mean, I've got my Sash. I don't know what this thing wants to do. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and get my rocks up. And go from there. This thing being Frisk, if I saw that correctly, is interesting. And there goes that plan to take down Kleavor. Alright, noted. Flame Orb! Okay, so this thing took my Sash, which is a little annoying. And the Flame Orb certainly sucks. But it's fine. I'm just gonna go ahead and Stone Edge this thing to break that Sash, so it's kind of useless to it. Not gonna do much because I'm burned, but that is fine. Breaking the Sash, it was the main goal anyway. And Parting Shot. Surprise, surprise. I mean, Pomni's main goal was basically to be kind of a lead counter to Kleavor, which unfortunately is not happening anymore. I got rocks up at least, so there's that. But that was really Pomni's main purpose in this game. I mean, if Kleavor comes out now... I mean, I dropped to a close combat. If he doesn't go for close combat for whatever reason. Into Blaze Tauros. Which is not Intimidate. Interesting. I think I'm still going to try to go for counter at the very least. Oh! Oh! That is incredible! I can't believe that worked. I can't believe I actually got to pull off the counterattack. All because he tried to go for Trailblaze and set up on me, thinking I'd switch. But, I mean, Pomni's main use was basically being a Sash lead to do that to Kleavor. So the fact that Pomni took out Tauros and has rocks up, despite being burned, is incredible. Pomni, you are just full of surprises. And this is why you are gladly welcome in the amazing Digital Circus. So now I guess the question becomes, without Tauros, what does he do? Tauros was actually probably one of the... Tauros, Kleavor, and Piloswine were my three biggest concerns, and one of those is now gone. It's going to be interesting to see what he decides to do from here. Pylo wouldn't surprise me. That is Tentacruel, which is probably just going to try to spin my rocks away. Which is fine if that's the case. I'm just going to go ahead and Stone Edge. Again, Pomni's main purpose in this game is pretty much done. So any chip I can get off on this thing would certainly be appreciated. I mean, I could potentially get my rocks back up, I suppose, if I try to preserve Pomni. Nope, never mind. That's fair. That is fair. So that said then, you are definitely a special set. I know that for a fact. I'm gonna go into Gangle. And we're gonna roll from here. I think this is the play. Because you would be special. I'm gonna Terrasilize now. Actually, do I? Because not Terrasilizing allows me to 1v1, Piloswine. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. As he probably switches into Piloswine, so this was probably a mistake. No Bronzong. Alright then. That is fine. That is fine. My rocks are still up. I'm actually kind of wondering now if that Tentacruel actually has the ability to spin. Still, this Terra Blast should hopefully do something to this Bronzong. Decent chunk. It is leftovers. Fair. I think I'm just going to Terra Blast again. Chip this thing down further. See what it wants to do. Just going to Body Press, which Gangle does take. And I guess looking at that, I'm going to go into Ragatha, because I can definitely take a Body Press from this thing. And maybe we can start getting screens set up and causing some problems. Ragatha cannot touch this thing, but that is perfectly fine. I will trace what I presume to be Levitate. Yep. Yep. That is perfectly fine, though. I'm just going to go ahead and set up a Reflect, figuring you are probably just going to... I don't know if... if you have a Steel move, you definitely go for it. I would not be surprised to see Gyro Ball, honestly, but I got to Reflect up in case of that. Flash Cannon! Interesting. That does kind of make sense, actually. It does not change the fact that I'm now going to go for my Light Screen. To kind of cut down on that. And now rocks are up. Okay. So if you have rocks, what does that mean for Piloswine? Let's see, I could go Gummy Goo right now, maybe. I could also just go Jax and actually try to start making stuff happen. Potentially. That is certainly an option. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and go to Jax. I think we're going to actually start getting Jax set up and see if we can break stuff. Because that was the main purpose behind forcing Ragatha and Jax to work together for this week. As you just go for Flash Cannon, which I know I can take. We're going to go ahead and get a Shift Gear up. Go ahead and get Jax ready to go, all revved up. mean, Jax craves violence. So, why not go ahead and give him violence? That is +1 attack. As you do go for body press, which I take. That will proc my weakness policy. And now things get interesting. I think this thing is out of range of a Temper Flare, though, is the problem. Yeah, it definitely is, but we're going to go for it anyway. Still do a ton of damage to this Bronzong. As Jax does live on 4 HP. Literally 1%. Okay. Okay. Well, the second Temper Flare definitely kills. What do you send in? What are you gonna send in to take this? That is the Morgrim. Which is absolutely fine. Because you drop. I don't think that crit mattered. Considering I'm at +3. Yeah, that one doesn't surprise me, actually. I'm just gonna click Power Whip, but you're definitely gonna pick me off with a nice shard. There is no surprise here. There should be no surprise here. And I'd be willing to let Jax go in that case. Yep. That's fine, though. My screens are still up. Jax took out Morgrim, did a huge chunk of Bronzong. So all in all, I think we're still in a fairly good spot. And I think we're going to go to Zooble right now. How many turns of screens do I still have left? This is my last turn of Reflect. Giga Drain is tempting. Very tempting. I wouldn't be surprised if Tentacruel comes in, though. Yeah, I'm gonna Giga Drain anyway. If you switch to Tentacruel and it's Liquid Ooze, good call. Nope, you're just gonna Icicle Crash. Which is fine. Zooble takes that behind the Reflect. And I get flinched. Lovely. I'm gonna Giga Drain again. I know the second Icicle Crash is gonna hurt, but I should be out of range of it. Or you could miss. That is also a possibility that could happen. So I take a nice chunk out of you. At the very least. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and Spore you. Zooble takes it. I get the Spore off, so Piloswine is asleep now. Which is very much appreciated. I'm just gonna go ahead and Giga Drain you again. Get Zooble some health back, chip away at you a little more. You switch out to Tentacruel now. Fair enough. But I kind of would have preferred Kleavor to be asleep, but I think we can still make this work. I think we've still got the pieces. It's not going to be easy, but we can still make this work. I think we're still in a fairly decent spot. I mean, Bronzong's effectively dead, for the most part. You're gonna let this thing take more damage. I mean, burning a turn to sleep is certainly a good call. But Zooble's just getting healthy again. I'm gonna go for another Giga Drain. If this thing wakes up and actually kills me with Icicle Crash... Nope, you're just gonna switch. Fair enough. Fair enough. What comes in now? That is... the Bronzong. Which doesn't quite die to Giga Drain. Okay, about what percent is that? I know you're Levitate. I'm just gonna Giga Drain again. Psychic Noise! Ugh! And that just blocked Giga Drain altogether. Okay! Hate that. I'm gonna go into Gummy Goo. Interesting. You are a very interesting Bronzong set, not gonna lie. At least Zubul will be able to... I think Zubul should still be able to recover from Regenerator at the very least. Here's the hoping. But this will block another Psychic Noise. If you Body Press, good call. But Crook should be able to take it. You just go Flash Cannon. Alright, Gummy Goo takes that. And now the question becomes, what do you want to send in to take a knockoff? Or do you just want to let Bronzong go at this point, because it's been hanging by a thread? I mean, a Sleeping Piloswine losing his Eviolite would certainly be appreciated. Kleavor losing whatever its item is. I severely doubt it's Sash if he's been keeping it in the back. Maybe Scarf? In which case, Gummy Goo outruns it. And I don't think it would really like to lose its Scarf. Tentacruel certainly wouldn't appreciate losing whatever item it's holding. So Gummy Goo's in a good position here. There goes the Bronzong. Which is nice. And now Gummy Goo is at +1 because of Moxie. So this is about to get a little more interesting now. I don't think a +1 knockoff kills anything. Well, maybe Piloswine. Because that thing was chipped pretty low and it's going to take rocks damage on the way in. I don't think anything else drops to a +1 knockoff, though, even with max attack. So, Kleavor or Tentacruel? Actually, if you do send in Pilo... I'm at 219. That's the Kleavor. Which does take rocks. Actually... Oh, this might be a risky play, but... I think you actually do drop to a +1 knockoff because I'm Scarf. I outrun you. I'm gonna go for it. Goodbye, Kleavor! Clear Amulet! You were expecting... I mean, good tech considering I've got the double Intimidate, but... I did not bring Intimidate Crook this week, I brought Moxie. If I had decided to go with the Arcanine set I was considering, then maybe this would have been, a little more interesting. But, you take rocks. I think you drop to a knockoff 2 at this point, at +2. Yeah, Scarf Crook cleans from here. Scarf Crook cleans from here. Piloswine is asleep. I'm pretty sure I'm out of Ice Shard range, even if you're Adamant max attack, unless you're banded. But a +3 knockoff definitely kills you. And the sleep is going to prevent that anyway. I apologize for that, Nugglo, but... I mean, I'm pretty sure I was out of Ice Shard range anyway, unless you were banded. But yeah, you were Eviolite. So that is going to be the end of that. A 4-0 win for the Columbus Swoo Amazing Digital Circus Edition. I'm at least glad I got to show off the Cyclozar tech. That was fun. Screen's Gardevoir certainly helping. Gummy Goo. Gummy Goo the Crocodile, you absolute monster. This is why Scarf Crook was my biggest headache for so many years. Why I despised facing that mon with a passion. And now having it on my side. Oh boy. Anyway, GG to Nugglo. That was a great game. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I have been Ruppy, and my Columbus Swoo Amazing Digital Circus Edition, and I, your Ringmaster, we'll see you guys next time. Take care.